Excuse me. Can I disturb you a second?
No.
You could be a little bit nicer about it.
Keep quiet. In case you haven't noticed, we're somewhere that requires silence and tranquility.
Excuse me. Sir, please, just a moment.
Yes, what is it? I'm not deaf, you know.
I am sorry to disturb you in your work, sir, but...
This young Mammothus primigenius is barely 40,000 years old. Fantastic, wouldn't you say, miss?
Yes. Probably.
What do you mean, probably?
I don't know.
You don't know? Oh, you don't know, I see. What can I do for you, my dear child?
To tell you the truth, I don't know very much about mammoths, and I'm not here as a student. In fact, I'm a lawyer.
It's all right. Nobody is perfect. All the same, the study of the Pleistocene period is fascinating.
I'm sure it is, but I'm sorry to say my current mission is totally monopolizing my time. Another time, maybe.
Ah, that's what they all say. But anyway, let me present myself. I'm Cornelius Ponce, Emeritus Professor and Lecturer at the University of Barrockstadt. I'm proud to say that I'm head of the Department of Paleozoology at our university.
Kate Walker. Pleased to meet you. It wasn't really my intention to stop off here, but I'll confess, this university is really very impressive.
Ah, indeed. There's such a tradition of learning here, and so much knowledge, a real depth of culture, intelligence, and gray matter. I myself did my studies here and never left.
Actually, I'm here because I've been summoned by the rectors of the university.
Oh, I see. You must have made a mistake on your enrollment form.
Oh, no. I haven't come here to study. I have an important matter of inheritance to attend to. I have to find the heir.
And you hope you will find him here?
I'm not altogether sure. But you see, my train broke down coming into Barrockstadt station.
In that case, my dear, you must come to one of my lectures. Here's a question for you. Do you know what the Proboscidean order is?
The Probowhatian?
Ah, you see? There are gaps in your knowledge that need refreshing.
I feel I've lost my way a little here. I could really do with your help.
Oh, my dear child, you've chosen your moment. I absolutely must finish off my lecture for this afternoon.
It's a lecture about mammoths?
Oh, yes and no. More specifically, it is about their migration. Do excuse me, I need to concentrate.
To tell you the truth, I'm looking for Mr. Hans Vorarlberg. He's the sole heir of a very unusual factory. My company is in charge of negotiations for the takeover of this factory. At last word, he was living in Syberia. So, as soon as my train is ready, I'll be continuing my journey eastwards.
Syberia. Ah, Syberia. But what was it you said again?
Said what?
You mentioned a name. The person you are looking for.
Vorarlberg. Hans Vorarlberg. Do you know him?
Hans Vorarlberg. How could I forget him? Such an extraordinary fellow. So inventive. We shared a passion for mammoths, you know, and we bonded over this passion. Without it, I confess, I would have had little to do with an odd, ageless retard like Hans. At the time, we were both students. Well, sort of. Put it this way. Hans had special permission to attend paleontology lectures. You see, he didn't really have the necessary qualifications. In exchange, Hans did a few odd jobs around the university.
Your Hans Vorarlberg sounds uncannily like the one I'm looking for.
I'm not sure, my dear. Hans was above all questions of money and business. Just to imagine him running a factory, perish the thought.
Can you tell me a little bit more about him?
He was always a mystery to me. He never said very much, and never quite seemed to grasp what you said to him. He expressed himself instead through his incredible mechanical contraptions. His inventions, I admit, have been much appreciated by the university. The few times we really did talk, it was about his strange interest for mammoths and a doll. Some sort of doll that obsessed him.
A doll, you say?
Yes, he kept talking about it. One day he described it to me. A sort of children's toy. A miniature mammoth mounted by a maut. It appears he found it in a cave not far from his home. The event all sounds very dramatic. His account was slightly confused, but it awoke a great interest in me.
What do you mean?
To my knowledge, there was only one tribe who made figurines featuring a maut, and that tribe is the Yukols. They live in the farthest reaches of Syberia, and for them, the dolls constituted a sacred object, illustrating one of their central legends. How such a doll made the journey from the frozen Siberian north to a cave in the French Alps is a mystery to me. Even today, it is beyond my comprehension.
Have you considered that Hans Vorarlberg was maybe making it up? You said yourself he didn't seem to have all his mental facilities intact.
No, that's impossible. Hans couldn't invent the story like that. The doll is a sacred part of the Syberia legend. He described it to me in exact detail. Syberia itself is a chimera that paleontologists of the world are very fond of pursuing.
Arriving in Barrockstadt is an amazing experience. I've never seen such a station.
You came by train?
Yes, in a kind of clockwork train with a spring mechanism that winds down regularly.
You mean you drive a train? Young ladies of today never cease to amaze me.
Oh, no, I'm not the engineer. The train's engineer is actually an automaton. I am sorry, all this probably sounds very strange.
A clockwork train, driven by an automaton. I once knew a man long ago who could have invented such a train. It was he who designed the bandstand in the main square. To think that he was even capable of creating such a gadget. He was astounding, a true genius. But oddly, at the same time, he was also almost a child. It was as if his mental and physical evolution had definitively halted at the age of 10. Can you believe that?
Yes. I think I can believe that. At least I'm beginning to. My train stopped in a peculiar aviary. It's very odd. A lot of bird species seem to seek harbor there.
Ornithology is far from being my favorite subject, but I must concede that the station is the pride of the university. It was initially intended for teaching purposes, but then birds started arriving from all around the world. It seems that there are still rare species breeding there and flourishing.
Are there? Can you give me an example?
I have been told about a kind of bird with peculiar habits. Let's see now, the Amazon cuckoo, that's right. But, I'm so foolish, I can't remember what was so special about it. Just that its behavior is very peculiar.
The Amazon? Where's the Amazon? What is the Amazon?
I'm sorry, my dear, but one cannot learn everything in a lifetime. Specialization is the key to real knowledge. Why don't you pay a visit to our library?
Thank you very much. Professor, how do I say this? You see, I didn't think I'd need a lot of money when I set out. And it turns out I need money after all. It's a delicate matter, I know, but I was wondering if you could help me out.
My dear, it would be a pleasure, but you see, I barely have enough myself to cover my meager expenditure on what I'm paid by the university.
Sorry, I didn't mean to offend or...
However, if we look at the example of Hans, it is true that our university always rewards people who perform some service for it. This is our dear rector's jurisdiction, however.
If I were to say Forest Sauvignon to you, what would you say?
Oh, let's see. Sauvignon. Sauvignon? I would say it's some kind of tropical shrub, don't you think?
We are talking about the same plant, then. It is a very rare shrub with small, juicy fruits. I found a book about the Amazon, and it says that there are even Sauvignon plants growing right here in Barrockstadt. You wouldn't know where, would you?
Amazon Sauvignon plants here? No. No, I don't think there are any. Highly implausible. But you should ask the station master. He is keeper of the greenhouse at our university, so he could tell you more than me.
Oh, thanks very much. I'll leave you in peace. I hope I haven't disturbed you too much.
Sorry? No, not at all, my dear child.
Hello?
So, you got him then, this air?
Ah, it's you, Mr. Marson. Good day, and how are you, sir?
I'll feel a whole lot better when this whole business is over and the sales contract is signed. Where the hell are you?
I'm in Barrockstadt.
What? What in God's name are you doing there?
It's a magnificent university town. It would appear Hans Vorarlberg once passed by here several years ago.
So if he isn't there anymore, then there's no point hanging around.
I hear what you're saying, sir, but I have good reason to believe that Hans Vorarlberg is still alive. For the time being, I'm trying to gather extra information from people who have known him.
What's your next destination?
I'm not exactly sure yet.
Doesn't sound like you know too much, Kate.
I just need a bit of time, Mr. Marson.
Yeah, well, time is what you ain't got. Keep me posted.
I'm sorry to disturb you.
What can I do for you, miss?
Where might I find some forest Sauvignon plants, please?
No place round here, that's for sure. I don't know what you're talking about. That stuff's from the Amazon.
You know, for someone who knows nothing about the plant, you seem pretty well informed about which mysterious faraway country it comes from.
Oh, Amazon, Peru, Papua New Guinea, it's all the same to me. Gotta go. Gotta work.
Wait, don't go. You know what? I don't think he was being totally straight with me. Do excuse me, Professor. Professor, sorry to disturb you again. Professor, I have brought you something that should be of interest to you. Look.
What have you got there, then? Let's see. An effigy of a mammoth. But this is Hans' doll, is it not? Yes, of course it is. How on earth did you... Oh, my God. It's in my hands. It exists. It really exists. Please do excuse me. I'm deeply, deeply moved.
You see? Your Hans and my Vorarlberg heir are one and the same.
This is incredible. After all these years, how can I ever thank you, my dear? Oh, I must waste no time. I'm off to my laboratory. I must study this carefully. May I borrow your treasure a moment?
Well, actually,
Don't worry, miss. I will take the greatest care of it. But I need to study it. You see, it has such importance to me that this very afternoon I shall deliver an impromptu lecture to my students about this very object. If you are interested in Hans Vorarlberg, then it is essential that you attend.
Do you think so?
Obviously. Give me your telephone number and I will call you the moment my lecture begins. I will return you your doll at the end. You have my word. What is it you want to know, miss?
If I were to say Forest Sauvignon to you, what would you say?
Oh, let's see. Sauvignon.
We are talking about the same plant, then.
Amazon Sauvignon plants here?
Oh, thanks very much. You told me earlier about a lecture on some ancient Siberian tribe called the Ooks or something?
The Yukals, my dear. Careful not to confuse them with the Ukistran people of Central Asia.
Do excuse me. I wanted to know if your lecture is going to start soon.
Your eagerness to learn delights me, my dear. But I haven't finished studying this marvelous mammoth effigy yet. Don't worry, I will call you. See you later.
What would you say about seeing Hans Vorarlberg again? After all, you could come with me and help me find him.
Young lady, you are very kind. I'm far too old for such escapades.
I'll leave you in peace. I hope I haven't disturbed you too much.
Sorry? No, not at all, my dear child.